There we go. Again, good morning. My name is LeKeisha Grant, and I am a business advisor for the Small Business Development Center at the Entrepreneur Center. And today we are going to talk about getting your business online. So, our local SBDC, or the SBDC in Dayton at the Entrepreneur Center, so many words, um, consists of myself, Kim Woodbury, our director, who's on the line today. Kim, would you like to say anything?
Sorry. Yeah, hi. I'm happy to have you here. I've seen tequila on webinars before, but I think Shola's new to us. Welcome.
Cindy Green, who she just went out for a second. I think she'll be back in. Most of you have probably interacted with Cindy at some point in time. Adrian Hurd. Adrian, would you like to say anything?
Welcome. Looking forward to getting good information that I can use with my clients as well. Thank you, Lakeisha.
Thank you. And then Mark Lankford, who is not joining us this morning, but he is also another one of our advisors. All of our services are free and confidential. We do offer one-on-one business consulting and workshops like we are doing this morning. And then we've already done our introductions with you all. So moving right in, e-commerce solutions. So you have a lot of platforms or ways in which people conduct business now. One is my least favorite, is inbox business. And that's when you see somebody on social media, whatever the case may be, and it's a thing of inbox me for more information or inbox me to purchase. Least favorite, there are no protections on you or the customer. And I don't want to say it's not a legitimate way of doing business, but it's kind of not a legitimate way of doing business. So there's that. We have Etsy. A lot of handmade, custom entrepreneurs use the Etsy platform to be able to present their information. I think Etsy is great for creatives. The downside of Etsy is not extremely customer friendly when you are trying to sell multiple products to one person at a time. You tend to have to restart that whole process. So the customer experience is not all that great, but Etsy as a platform is great for reaching multiple people. I almost call it the creatives Amazon to an extent. Then you have WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a digital plugin that works with dominantly the WordPress platform, where you can turn a WordPress website into an e-commerce website, or add an e-commerce function is more so what I should say. You have the Shopify platform. Shopify is one of the most or the fastest growing e-commerce platform to date, I believe. Completely built for e-commerce. It's not necessarily, or it has not been in the past necessarily, the best platform for service-based businesses, but they have made a lot of changes to become competitive in that area since dealing with COVID-19. Volusion, same thing. Built for e-commerce, and not necessarily the best platform for your service-based businesses, but definitely has some great things to offer. Square, which most people are familiar with Square or Square Up as a merchant services, but you actually can build a website through the Square platform using the solution that I have at the bottom, Weebly. There is a Square Weebly partnership where you are able to build yourself a Square website. And Square is able to handle things between both the service and the product sector. The biggest thing, or I guess the determining factor with Square, is Square has a lot of add-ons. So you're able to add on email marketing and keep everything somewhat in-house with Square. Then you have Squarespace. Squarespace is a very popular platform for service-based businesses. It is, and it does have an e-commerce function. E-commerce is not necessarily where it shines. I think it is a much better platform, or at least a product base. I think it's a great platform for your service-based businesses. WordPress. WordPress is one of your more robust platforms. A lot of people who have a familiarity with coding and being able to truly build a back end website use the WordPress platform because it is so robust. You do, as I mentioned, with the WooCommerce, have the ability to add on an e-commerce function. You actually can add on an e-commerce function using Shopify on the WordPress platform as well. But WordPress is great, great, great for service-based businesses. WordPress is also a great platform for media-based businesses who are going to be sharing a lot of content because it is a blogging platform as well. So it's built for that. And then you also have Wix. Wix is more so used for the service base. It does have a e-commerce function. Excuse me. It does have an e-commerce function available to it. It's just not necessarily where it shines. So those are kind of some of your e-commerce solutions. I don't want to say this is all. It definitely is not. But these are some of the more talked about, more popular ones that we're dealing with right now. Also, feel free at any time to drop me a comment in the box, and I will do my best to answer that for you. So one of the main things you need when dealing with your website is your domain. Your domain name is how people find you. That's that thing that we put into the search bar or to go to a particular website. For instance, the SBDCs is sbdctec.com. That is our domain name. I personally believe in purchasing your domain name outside of a lot of these major platforms, such as your WordPresses, your Wix, um, your Shopify's. Purchasing your domain through a domain provider such as a GoDaddy, a HostGator, a Bluehost, Google Domains, or Yahoo Domains. Number one reason why this is the suggested way to do this is if you ever decide to move platforms, it's much easier and much quicker to switch and transition platforms when the domain is separate from the platform that you're using than it is if you were on Wix. And I'll give you a really quick example. If the domain is in Wix, you pretty much have to ask for permission to move the domain. And then you have to do what they call a port of the domain. And then you can connect it to the other website. Wow, for instance, if you are on GoDaddy and you currently have a Wix website and you want to move to Shopify, you literally go into GoDaddy and move where you want that domain to point to. And I know this sounds really technical, so I apologize. There's not a better way for me to honestly say it, but I'm just trying to explain how easy it is when you have it outside of those locations. The other thing is when you're dealing with the GoDaddies, HostGators, Bluehost, their renewals are pretty consistent between $12-$20 a year annual renewal. When you're working with some of these other platforms, your domain renewals can go upwards of $20-$50 annually for the renewals, in addition to what you're paying to use those actual platforms. So that's the big thing. Got to have a domain name. Domain, domain, domain. There is a website, and I haven't used it recently. I'll go to it at the end if anyone would like me to. It's called Namecheck. I'll put it in the chat box. Namecheck.com. So I'll go back for a second. The thing I like about namecheck.com is namecheck.com allows you to see if the domain, not only if the domain name is available to you, but also if any of the social media platforms are available in that same name. It does not check trademarks or copyrights. I want to make sure I say that, but it does check kind of that digital real estate. It does check that. So moving on, the pages on your website. These are the basic pages that every website should have to an extent. And I have me in parentheses so that if you are something like an author, individual, it might be more so of an about me versus an about the business. So that's why I have that in parentheses. But an about page, well, who is this business? What do they do? Founding, just some basic information. Some people want to get to know the business that they're doing business with. So just having that information there to explain who you are as a business is an easy page to do and an important page to do. You never want someone to come to your website, look around, and after they've been on the page for 5, 10 minutes, or however long they've been on there, they walk away and they're like, I have no idea who this business is and what they do. A products and services page. This is somewhere central that a person can go and look at your products and services collectively. Many websites, depending on the nature, might have their services and products spread out through some different categories. Or even embedded throughout their website, so that if they're explaining something, there might be a highlighted range where you can see that this service is relevant to this case study or something like that. But it's always nice to have a central place that a person can go where they can see what you offer in real time. And we're going to dig a little bit more into what should go onto those pages. So I'm not going to dig any further on that. A contact page. How can a person reach out to you? And this doesn't, a lot of people do forms. It just depends on if the form works. I've had a lot of experience where the forms don't email, or the forms end up coming to spam, and it's just been a mess. So you can do a form if that's what you're comfortable with. If you have a mailing address, listing that information. If you have a phone number, making sure that information is available. Email address. And if you have multiple email addresses for different things. So for instance, if you have, say, a customer service email address versus a booking address, make sure that's clear on your contact page, so that when a person emails you, one, it's kind of, once you receive that email, to some extent it's on you to handle it internally on how that response comes back, but just make it easier. So if your booking page responds slower or quicker than your customer service page, just understanding and directing people in the proper directions is important. Also, putting links to your social media on those pages, if that is something that you're trying to grow or that you want people to be familiar with. Many businesses, whether they're e-commerce based or service based, use social media almost as a gallery. It can be a gallery of your testimonials in some cases from customers who are sharing their experiences with you on social media, and you have reshared that content. It can also be a place, your social media can be a place where you might have pictures of work that you've done. I know a few landscaping companies that post when they've done some really nice work and they're able to get a good picture of it. They'll post that kind of content on their social media. So allowing people to have that direct connection to go back and forth between pages. Your contact page is a very easy page to use. Then a links page. So this again is kind of circling back to social media. With Facebook, you can post as many links as you want, and you're able to hyperlink on an actual post. The same is true for LinkedIn. But when you're using the Instagram platform, Instagram does not allow you to put live hyperlinks in the actual content of the post that you're making. You only have one place to put a hyperlink in your bio. So what a lot of people do, and what I suggest you do, is create a links page that actually, where you can go in and actually create multiple links where people can go out and say, oh, if you talked about a particular product, they can link to that particular product straight from that links page. If you're talking about a particular service, they can link directly to that page. Even articles and things about your business can be added to this links page. There is a company called Linktree that allows you to build these links pages on their website, but you can also create that page on your own personal website. And the thing I like about when you create it on your own website, even if for some reason you forget to update a link and there's an error, guess what? They're already on your website. So they can click that home button, they can click your logo, and they'll just go back to the basic front page. And then last but definitely not least, an FAQs section. And there is another one I want to add on there. An FAQs section. FAQs are great for a couple of reasons. One, it answers the questions that you genuinely get often. So if I see a FAQ page and I do have a couple questions versus me going and searching through multiple pages on your website or even trying to go out to your social media, I can go straight out to this FAQ page or frequently asked question page and see possibly exactly what I'm looking for. And it's nice to have your frequently asked questions bulleted out because it's just easier to see. Another thing that goes into frequently asked questions and should actually be its own page as well, is your shipping information. Especially during this current time, we've had a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration around shipping. And a lot of that has just been due to COVID and things that previously worked have not worked. Companies that previously were able to ship in 3 to 5 days are now taking 10 to 14 days, whatever the case may be. This is a great place to keep that information. One, because very few people read, unfortunately. So one, I think it's a great place to great thing to have multiple places is your shipping information. Two, if there's ever a situation of a dispute, your FAQs can be a part of the information that you submit to back up the information that you have actually given your customer this degree of information about your business and about whatever their concern is or their complaint is. So using the FAQs. And the one that I left off is shipping information. Making sure that you have shipping information if you ship for your business is very, very important. So now and this is somewhat, no, I did a service page. So product information, making sure you have a clear name for your product, the image, a good clear image, a description, have the price and the weight if shipping is required. So I'm going to come back on the screen in just a second to show you something about the images. But the name, sometimes we can get caught up in names sounding good and sounding pretty and all that kind of stuff. Make sure that your name is somewhat descriptive. So that person knows what it is. That's one of the worst things is when you're looking at a product, the image is not clear, the name is somewhat vague, the description is non-existent, and you're just trying to figure out what exactly is it that I'm buying. So making sure that all these things are very clear so that the customer understands exactly what they're getting for the price. Two, on your website, if I'm on your website for a product, unless for some reason this product requires a consultation of some sort, I want to know how much it is. I don't want to have to add it to cart to figure that out. As I'm looking at it, I want to see exactly how much this thing is going to cost. Now, if for some reason this product requires a consultation, that needs to be very clear in place of that pricing area. And then weight if shipping is required. And the weight piece is important, more so on the back end. Many of your e-commerce platforms, when it comes to shipping, will be able to calculate the proper shipping for you. So if you're charging, for instance, weight-based shipping with USPS, if you're charging that and the customer is paying that and you don't have a flat rate shipping, the weight being in there allows for the proper shipping to be charged to your customer versus if you don't have any weight listed, it may default to I've seen something default to automatically being a pound. I've seen things automatically defaulting to whatever a box size is, which all can be completely and totally incorrect for your product. So now either your customer is paying too much for shipping or they're paying too little for shipping. And either way, it ends up not necessarily, if the customer pays too much, it's not a good customer experience for them because I don't know any customer that enjoys paying shipping. On your side, if you're not charging them enough, you're not in a good mood because you've lost money because you've had to compensate for the shipping because that weight was incorrect. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm absolutely one of those people who I have purchased more things just to get free shipping. I purchased an extra $20 to $30 not to pay $5. And I definitely have spent $200 and questioned the $10 shipping after spending $200 because I felt like my shipping should be free. So just being very conscious around that piece. Next, your service information. Again, name, good description. If this is relevant, an image that represents whatever the service is going to be, if it's relevant, a price range. Again, the same way with services, people like to somewhat know what they're getting themselves into. So even if it's something as simple as starting at, I do understand with services, and your average client understands with services that many things are based on what they need and the customization of what they need. So people understand that there might be a range, but at least if you can tell someone that is starting at, they can know beforehand if that's something that they can afford. Because the other part of that is sometimes a person isn't ready for your services. So a lot of times I've seen memes and different things floating around social media and the internet that'll say, you know, oh, the amount of time that I wasted having a conversation with this customer for them to not buy. Well, this can be avoided if you equip them with a lot of the information between the price range, starting price, and that frequently asked question area, so that many of the questions and conversations that are needed for them to make an educated decision on their end are not positioning you to feel like you're wasting your time having those conversations with them. And then lastly, on the service side, consultation details. If this is required, do you have certain days that you hold conversations, certain times of day? Are there requirements for the consultation? Is it free? Is it paid? Is there some type of deposit? If there is a deposit or if there is a fee for the consultation, is it non-refundable? And if it's whether it is or isn't, does that potentially roll over into the service, or is that just a flat fee that has to be paid no matter what? These are all things that vary based on both the business as well as the service. So again, equip your customer with as much information as possible in the beginning. This discount portion is a little bit more based on your e-commerce based businesses. So you have promotional codes, markdowns, automatic discounts, and then you have shipping. As I said before, people love free shipping. I've seen people who would prefer free shipping over a percent off because for whatever reason, we just don't like paying shipping. Automatic discounts. Automatic discounts are nice because the customer doesn't have to do anything. So you completely alleviate that potential email where somebody's like, oh, hey, I went in and I bought $300 worth of stuff, but I forgot to put my 50% promo code in there. Will you adjust that for me? You alleviate those emails with automatic promo codes. Also, when you do something, for instance, let's say you're doing a $10 off of $100 purchase, you can make sure that is already set in there. So again, you don't have to worry about any type of promo code. It just happens as soon as the person gets to checkout. No one has to do anything. And you can you can set timelines for all of these different types of discounts on the back end of your websites. Markdowns. The nice thing about markdowns is people immediately see how much they're saving before they get to checkout, which is nice. So sometimes that's that thing that incentive that makes a person go ahead and put something in their cart immediately versus wondering or trying to do the math in their head on how much they're really going to save. They see it right there in black and white or black and red in some situations. And then promo codes. You give your customer the promo code, they put it in, it's kind of on them. You do have people, I have seen people who will forget to enter their promo code and will send an email to say, hey, I forgot to enter my promo code. I need you to do it, or I need you to adjust. No. um, Personal responsibility. Now, some businesses will do that, but that's just one of those things. And people like promo codes, that it's easy to share when you're talking about putting out promotional hardware or flyers or things of that nature. It's enticing to see a promo code on a flyer that makes you at least go to the website and check out what they have going on in many cases. And that's something versus the markdown on that flyer, on that postcard, you can't see that markdown. You get to see the promo code and the percentage that you get off with that promo code. The same is true for the automatic shipping, or excuse me, the automatic discount. You don't get to see that when you're handing someone a handbill or you're emailing someone. They don't get to see those immediate markdowns, but they can see that promo code and that percentage. So some of it really is about who you're dealing with and how you are trying to appeal to them. Analytics, making sure you have analytics on your page. You have in-store or website-based analytics. Depending on your website, depends on what exactly they're giving you. And for some websites that have various levels, there will be various levels of analytics. Excuse me, various levels of analytics. Some will give you more. So some might give you an overview of how much you've sold in products or services at the basic level. While if you go into a higher level, it'll tell you exactly how much that you sold for the month. It'll give you exactly I'm trying to think of what else. It'll give you even the timeline of where you make more sales. So just looking and researching what kind of analytics your website provides. Google Analytics, which are free. Um, those are good. They're on the back end, and you're able to actually put some coding into your website. Most of the website platforms have updated their back ends to allow for there to be a slot for you to put this Google code. Years ago, you had to know a little bit about coding to be able to put this Google Analytics code into the header of your website, and it could be a mess. That's one of the things when you would go to someone's website and you would see this random HTML. A lot of times it was the effects of someone putting their in some type of analytics code in the wrong place, and now it's showing to the whole world on the website. Your social media insights. Social media insights can only be seen if you have a business page. As of right now, personal pages do not give insights. So you have to make sure that you have upgraded, and I say upgraded loosely because it's not a fee or anything, but transitioned your page to specifically being a business page so that you can capture the analytics. They will tell you things such as when are people on your post? Is there a better time of day for you to post? Even down to male or female. So social media gives you an additional set of insights as well. And then you also have, from a marketing perspective, your email marketing probably gives you the best analytics outside of social media because it'll let you know the open rate. Depending on the platform, you can even see exactly what time someone opened an email. You can see how frequently they opened an email, and you can see what exact links that individual person opened in your email. Now, I will put this disclaimer out there: different email marketing platforms operate their analytics differently. So that's why I say may. So you just have to see what email marketing platform you're using and how they're running their particular set of analytics. While we're on email marketing, these are some great these are a few platforms. You have MailChimp and MailerLite and Klaviyo, which I know all three of those have a free version for newer users. You have Square Marketing that is only accessible to those who are using the Square merchant platform. You also have Constant Contact and ConvertKit available to you as well. I don't believe either of those have free versions. Once you actually start sending emails, ConvertKit has started a new thing where they have a free thing for you to collect emails, but once you begin actually sending emails, you have to upgrade into a paid version. Now I'm going to go just quickly into a last about 3 to 4 slides on a few reasons to market your website and to continue to market to your audience on a constant basis. The top 3 reasons are visibility, engagement, and to educate. With visibility, we have to remember, I think one of the things we forget once we become businesses is that marketing is the marathon. You market to someone so that when they get ready to purchase whatever it is you sell, they think of you first. I use the example all the time. When you're laying in your bed and you can't sleep and you see the commercial for Longhorn and the butter sitting on top of the steak, or you see a commercial for Red Lobster and they got them Cheddar Bay biscuits sitting right in the front of the screen. At 2 a.m., they're not expecting you to run out and cold some Red Lobster. They know that you're probably in an impulsive mood, so they do continue to run that. But they also know subconsciously that when you do get hungry, you hopefully will think about them. They just want you to see it as much as possible. They're not thinking, oh, you need to come to get these Cheddar Bay biscuits right this minute. They just want to continue to implant their business, their product in your face as much as possible so that when you get ready for some biscuits, when you get ready for a nice steak, you think of their businesses. So that's where it is from a visibility standpoint. It's just being able to see them so that they're constantly in the forefront of your mind. Think about the businesses that have stayed in front of you right now. Are there any photographers who've just constantly stayed in front of you and you're like, you know what, when I do my next set of family photos, I think I'm going to try this person out, just because they've stayed in front of you so much throughout all that's been going on, or just period, forgetting COVID? Have they just stayed in front of you and constantly marketed themselves as a business, and not just sell, 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 buy, 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 but this is who I am, this is the quality of my work? Engagement. One of the places that I think a lot of small businesses miss the mark is actually communicating and engaging with the audience. We talk a lot, people talk a whole lot about social media being a free way to market, but the only way it becomes effective is if you're engaging with your audience. Otherwise, you might as well not be putting anything out there. You communicate. One thing I heard recently that made so much sense was that talking about, I'll use Instagram for example. Instagram, you unlock some different features once you hit 10,000 followers. And there was a marketer and he said, why would I help you or teach you how to get 10,000 followers when you can't even like, comment, or respond to the 10 that you have? You ignore the 10, but you say that you want 10,000. So connect with your audience, build relationships. People buy from who they like. So build a relationship, and people buy from people they can connect to. So build that relationship with your audience to feel, so that they can feel like they are a part of what you are doing. And then educate. I think that we have a lot of space to educate our customers through various marketing channels on how to be better customers to us, but also on how we are, who we are, excuse me. So let your customer know constantly who you are, what you do, what products you provide, what services you provide. Why do they need your product? What problem do you solve? And then in terms of educating them, some of these same questions help them become better customers. For instance, if you're a graphic artist and you explain the points of or the anatomy of a good social media post for a e-commerce business, if I tell you as the graphic artist why these things are important, when you reach out to the next graphic artist to make you a social media post, you'll be a little bit more mindful of making sure that you have that information already there for me. And it shortens the process of how long it takes us to get started. The same is true for event flyers, event promo, and all of these things. You have a lot of space to not only educate your customer on who you are, but also subliminally educating them on how to be a better customer to you. What can they do to make their experience with you better? And then revenue. Isn't that the point of this whole thing? We want to make some money. So staying engaged with your customer, marketing to your customer, ultimately should, at some point in time, bring in a couple dollars. So thank you for sitting with me today. Do we have any questions?